Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we simulated a little bit more of the season. We're like a little bit before the trade deadline, and so far we're kind of over simulating as I kind of expected with our roster. We're 28, 24, and 5, which isn't terrible, but it isn't great either. We are, I believe, literally not too far out of a playoff spot at the moment. You can see we're like 4 points back, so we are trying to make our team fall off the cliff for the remainder of the season potentially, just because of the fact, obviously, we are trying to rebuild here, and for some reason our team is just simulating to the point where we're kind of more in the average territory where we could make the playoffs or we can miss it, or if we make the playoffs, we end up probably getting knocked out in the first round. So we definitely want to make a couple changes to our team so that way we can kind of fall off a little bit and hopefully still get good production from our top prospects. So that's basically what the plan is in this episode, is to make a few trades, make us worse, and hopefully we miss the playoffs this time around, not like the time we dealt Kyle Connor and somehow made the playoffs still. So anyways, let's get to what your guys' comments were from last episode. There was actually only one of them, and that is from Saturn Otaku, who says, mediocrity is the worst position for you to be in. It would have been a good idea to trade Morrissey. If you want to gamble, you could see if a team would take him for 2029 first rounder on the hopes that there is maybe more defensive prospects available. And that is true, because this year's draft doesn't really have a lot of defensemen in it early on. So if we are to trade Morrissey for a first round pick, we want to maybe gamble on a future first round pick. So that's what we're probably going to try and do with him. And then there's also one other player that I wouldn't mind moving, and that being a guy that's kind of over-simulating in my opinion, and that's Rasmus Kupari. Because Kupari is having a good year. He is a pending UFA, and you can see at the moment here he's got 31 points in 57 games. He's been actually one of our better players. Some of it is probably because he's on the power play. I don't really know, but we are going to try and flip him away as well, and that way we could get rid of two players that have been helping our team out a little bit. It also gives a little bit more time, like John Beecher will probably just draw into his spot, so that way we're basically downgrading our team a little bit down the middle, and hopefully it makes us fall off quite a bit. And then, like I said, also moving out Morrissey should definitely help out quite a bit. He has been pretty bad defensively, but he is obviously our best offensive defenseman in a sense, because 47 points in 57 games is no slouch. Everybody else is below 20 points at the moment, so I think it should make us a worse defensive team as well. But I am also hoping that Galvis and Kolyachonok could still finish the season as good plus-minus defensemen, because Galvis has been very good in his rookie season at this point in time. And then the goaltending numbers are probably going to fall off even more, so they're not that great at the moment anyways, but I'm hoping that this team could just like kind of plummet and we could get ourselves a medium elite prospect in this draft. And hopefully also with the pick that we get from Morrissey, hopefully it's a first round pick that could actually give us a good chance at a very good defensive prospect or something like that. So let's take a gamble and see what we could get for him. But first, let's do a fine trade on Kupari, because I believe there was a lot of offers for Kupari in last episode, and some of them were pretty intriguing. I did actually edit our block, so we are going to get a little bit of different offers. But you can see we could get like some top 6 forward prospects from any team, some second round picks, which is not bad. The one that was kind of intriguing to me that I was looking at recently was, I think it was, there's this Kane guy. He's a 77 at 21, but he's a DFD. That's the only thing. So I'm not really too sold on that trade. He's the only one that really involves a good defenseman in it. There is also Dragic Savic, who's kind of intriguing, but I don't know if Dragic Savic is developing. Let's take a look at this one. But I am going to look at some of the other ones for forwards instead. Not that we really need the forward help. Dragic Savic is a 78 at 22. He looks pretty good. He is an OFD. I think I have seen him similarly good in franchise mode before, but I could be wrong with that. He's never played in the NHL at this point in time, though. His defensive stats aren't very good. His offensive awareness needs to go up more before he's going to be effective in the NHL. I don't know. Him being only 78 at 22 is not great, so I don't think I'm going to do that one, even if he does end up panning out to being a good offensive defenseman. I think we're just going to have to trade Kupari for a forward prospect and a pick. So let's take a look at these other ones anyways, starting with the back of the pack. Pekka Rinne. I don't know how old that guy is. I'm assuming based on the years remaining on the ELC will tell us on how old these guys are. If it's a 3 years, it's probably a young guy like this guy. is probably 18 years old, my guess. Let's double check and see if I'm correct on that. Isaiah Glass, I think his name was. Isaac Glass. 70 overall at 20. He's 20 years old already. Does have 1 point in his only AHL game because I guess he's a healthy scratch down there in Coachella Valley. Has he ever played in a playoff game? Probably not because this is his first season, right? Yeah. I don't really like that guy. 70 at 20 is not really the spot I was hoping for him to be at. Let's take a look at the other ones. I wish you could kind of see more details on these trades when you're going through this. Like, I wish I could hover over like the player name and just see what they're up to this season. Markstrom also might be a young guy. Shea as well. A lot of these guys are on 3 years, so let's take a look at Markstrom here in Carolina. See how good he is. Let's see. Callie Markstrom, 76 at 20. He's better than the other guy. More of a defensive-minded forward with good passing. Was the 12th overall pick a few years ago. Does fit all forward lines at the moment. Has been relatively good in the AHL as well for the Chicago Wolves. That one's kind of intriguing. It's straight up for a top 6 prospect. It's not bad. But once again, it's another guy that might crack our lineup next season, which means even more people on the team are going to have to let go of at some point. Let's see what else we got here. Any other ones I want to look at? There's Shea and Dowell, McKenna and Duda. I think McKenna was okay as well. Let's take a look at McKenna from Chicago. See how good he is. 66 at 18, so he was the former 15th overall pick. I don't really know if he's that great on paper. He has good shooting categories and all that, but is he going to develop into being that good? I feel like he's also a real player based on the height and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not too interested in real players, but let's take a look actually and see if I could go to skaters matching block and if it shows those guys. Yeah, it does. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, we actually might have some more intriguing players for Morrissey. Saren Heimo. Chicago was interested in Morrissey, but a 70 at 21 is a little bit low. But that guy's still intriguing. He is a healthy scratch, I think, in the AHL right now, but that's an interesting prospect right there. So there is more players, it looks like, on the block than what we were originally seeing, which is good. Let's see if we could still find any good prospects, though, for Kupari here. Because we were getting offered some, but I want to double check on what their overalls here are on this screen, because I don't think it's going to be worth my time just keep on doing what I was just doing. So Parks is a 76 at 21. Is there anybody else interesting here? A lot of top 9s. No, thank you. Looking more for a top 6 forward at least. LeFerrier, 80 at 26. No, thanks. There's got to be somebody. Yakula, high top 9, 78 at 21 is not really that bad when you think about it. This Yakula guy is interesting. He's a playmaker, great passing categories. Not the best shooting. Good offensive awareness, great defensive awareness. Except for the shot blocking and stick checking. He's got 50 points in 49 AHL games this year. Last 2 years he was not doing as well. This guy's actually really intriguing as a high top 9. He was a former 20th overall pick in year number 1. I don't know if he's a real player or not. I don't think he is. But that guy's kind of interesting. Even though it's only a high 9, like he might be a very serviceable like bottom 6 forward. And then we could probably get even more so back for Kupari for him. I don't know if that's worth it or not. Let's take a look and see what else there is. See if there's anything intriguing here. Any other top 6 forward prospects? Oh yeah, there's like these ones in San Jose. 75 at 20 for Kagarodov is pretty good. But I don't know. Musty's 78 at 22. Clements is 73 at 20. You have Bodin, who's 77 at 21. Johansson, who's Johansson, 71 at 20. Kane, who's 77 at 21. See, here's the defenseman I was thinking of maybe bringing in, but he's a DFD. I'm not really too sold on getting ourselves a DFD. He is from Bosnia, which is kind of cool, though. San Jose does have a lot of pieces here on the block that are intriguing. But we might be able to get them in a different deal. Fisker, Molgard, 78-23. Irons is 75 at 21. A lot of these guys I don't feel like are going to pan out too much. I mean, going 71 at 19, that's not terrible. He does have very good shot power, or not shot power, shot accuracy. But the offensive awareness and other offensive attributes don't scream interesting to me. George's is an unsigned, but only a 62 at 20. That's not good enough. Trying to make sure we make our best trade possible. Wow, Vancouver's got some great prospects on the block. 2 medium elite defensemen. Okay, so we might actually make a trade for a defenseman rather than a pick with Morrissey, because if Vancouver's interested in Morrissey, which I don't think they're going to be, we could always take in a medium elite defensive prospect. Palin is a DFD. Was the former first overall pick not too long ago, but he's already on the block because he's probably losing morale, my guess, or it's because he's only an 80 at 20. Sam Dickinson was the former 3rd overall pick. I don't know why they want to move these guys already. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Maybe we'll take a look at those when we move out Morrissey. Trying to see if we see anything else interesting. Kerry Terrence, not too interesting. Silvergard's a 77 at 20 is a top 9. That's not bad, but looking more for better potential. And then the guys in Carolina, we saw Markstrom already. Shea's a 69 at 19. Blaze a 76 at 22. I think the player that intrigues me the most out of these prospects on the block that has like potential is that high top 9. I know it might seem weird, but I like the high top 9 a lot better than a lot of these top 6 forwards. And the way he's playing in the AHL right now, we could just throw him to the AHL for the rest of the season, and he might do really good with our AHL team, and then he might be NHL bound next year. It might be a bit of a risk, but let's bring in Yakula from Nashville, and let's see if we could also get in a draft choice, like a 4th round pick. We might be able to get both that straight up for Kupari, which I think that's a good return for Kupari, to be honest, because Kupari, being a pending UFA, a guy that's probably not going to do much better than he's currently doing in a season. So let's try this. Kupari for Yakula and a 4th round pick. And that's accepted. So there's a good little trade there. We get ourselves a nice prospect in Yakula who might end up being something decent. He is going to get sent down immediately to the AHL, though, to play with our young boys down there in the minors. And he will get himself a good chance to produce down there, too, because he has some very good teammates, obviously. I want that AHL team to go for a Calder Cup this year if they're in the playoff spots, so we'll throw B.O. Gruel into that spot as might as well. And AHL-wise, we are going to have to take out... Might have to be Nilstorp. Actually, no, it could be Wagner. Yeah, we're going to take out Wagner here. And we will give Yakula there, and we will move him up in the lineup, I think, a little bit. I actually like him even better than some of our top 6-4 prospects. He's definitely better than Skrbik, so Skrbik is going to go down to the 4th line. And we will probably go with Nilstorp down the middle now, Julian on the left side, Skrbik on the right side. I almost feel like putting Yakula into the top 6. Like, he could even fit where Ranta is at the moment, but he should do well there. And then let's make sure he's getting some power play time too, so that way he doesn't just randomly have a bad year in the AHL. Let's say Kuzmin off the power play because this guy's not going to really develop. I know that for a fact. So Yakula will get some power play time as well. And we will hope that all these guys get good growth. But I think that high top 9, it might be a bit of a risk, but I'm okay with making that risk because we're only moving Kupari, right? So we'll see how Yakula does with a stacked AHL team. His production probably goes down because of all the other good AHL players, but maybe it also goes up. Okay, so we moved our first player. We are also still over the minimum cap, but we're probably going to end up retaining on Morrissey here when we move him. So let's see what we could get for Josh Morrissey. Also, if you guys have any ideas on who you want to be on the cover of the thumbnail, since we're pretty much moved out every player that was on the thumbnail originally, let me know. I will probably end up putting guys like Misa, probably Perfetti, and then I will also maybe try and get one of the generated guys like Irving on there. I don't know who I want to put on the thumbnail now that we've moved out pretty much everybody, but let's see what we can get from Morrissey. There was a couple teams with the elite defensive prospects. I don't remember which teams. I think Chicago was one. Don't remember on the other ones. So Let's see. Oh, yeah, Vancouver and Chicago, I think, were the two teams. So let's take a look. Was Chicago interested in Morrissey? They were. Was Vancouver interested in Morrissey? They are not. Oh, and they're also not doing too well. So that doesn't really make sense to trade for one of their prospects in Dickinson or Palin. I don't know why they want to move them if they're doing bad, but Chicago is okay with moving that elite prospect, and they also do want Morrissey. Do we take a chance with Saren Heimo, or do we try and trade for a future pick instead? This guy was a second-round pick, which means he's not going to have as high of a ceiling as the medium elites in the first round. That's the only thing. I don't think I'm going to trade for Saren Heimo. I don't think so. It might be kind of a dumb thing to say that, but that medium elite prospect, he was a second-round pick. Usually medium elites that go outside of the first round don't really develop into being that great, I feel like. So I feel like that's more of a gamble than trading for a future first-rounder, almost, in a sense. Like, this guy might only become, like, a top 4 or a top 6 defenseman. Like, he's already 21. He needs to develop really quickly. Like, he would be really good for our AHL team as well. That's the thing. Because we do have a lot of forwards on our AHL core. Saren Heimo could be still interesting. But let me see if there's any team that would mind moving their future first-round pick. Let's see. Let's go to draft picks and see if anybody is wanting to actually move to 2029 first rounder. If nobody is, we might still try and trade for one anyways. So far, it looks like most teams are being a little bit more cautious in a sense that they don't want to move future first rounders, which kind of makes sense. It's a big gamble for a guy with 1 year left, because they might not even re-sign Morrissey's the thing. Let's see. Montreal does not either. Yeah, I don't think any team's going to actually want to move their future first, but that doesn't mean that we will not be able to trade for it. We should be able to still trade for one. But is next year's draft going to have a good defensive pool? I hope it does, because this year's has like barely any. Okay, so yeah, no teams really want to move their first rounder for next year, which makes sense. So let's take a look at teams that are interested in him that are also not doing too well. Buffalo wants him and are not doing too well. Okay, so trading for next year's first rounder would be interesting, because Buffalo might not do too well. What other teams? A lot of the other teams that are interested in him are playoff teams at the moment. So the thing is Morrissey going to be what propels some of these teams into the playoffs? San Jose is kind of mediocre as well. They're 27, 25, and 8. They could still definitely make the playoffs. They're kind of similar to us, where they're losing a lot of games. So San Jose, or what was the other team that we were looking at? Or Buffalo. We are going to definitely retain 50% regardless on this deal, just to give us a bit more value. Also, the fact that we want to stay above the minimum cap. And we also want to help these teams not be super constricted by this deal. So that's a lot of value. We might be able to get a future first round pick for Morrissey here. Let's see. Oh yeah, we should definitely be able to, because we're retaining half salary. So a first round pick for next year. What else do you guys have on the block that might be intriguing, or should we just add another pick? Silvergard as part of this deal might be okay, but we have so much offensive prospects. Like, I feel like it would be beneficial to get a defensive prospect, which means the trade with San Jose might make more sense. Might. Unless we just want to keep adding picks to this deal. So a first rounder, how about a second rounder for this year as well? I feel like it's still more value going to them, but they also might not want to do this because of the fact they're missing the playoffs potentially right now. I feel like I'm kind of cheesing them a little bit, but maybe not too much. So a first, a second, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to look at San Jose maybe instead. I feel like Buffalo's in a spot where they wouldn't even dare entertain that deal. San Jose, on the other hand, is trying to push to still get into the playoffs. So if I take their first rounder for next year, do they have their first? Yes, they do still. Okay, good. Then we could also take in that defensive prospect that they had that I was interested in potentially getting. Like, might as well just add this guy to the deal. He's a DFD. He might be NHL bound soon too. And then do we have anything else that would work as part of this deal? Yeah, I have a lot of prospects on the block. So they're definitely trying to make a playoff push. Trying to think if there's anybody else intriguing here. Mayer, Yeah, I don't really see much else other than some of these top 6 forwards. I could try adding somebody like Kagerodov. I feel like I'm getting so much value if I end up getting all 3 of these things, though. I don't think I'm going to be able to get all 3 of these things, but I might be able to add something to this deal to get it to go through. Like if there's a prospect we have that we're not going to utilize. Let's see if this works. If this works, I feel like I'm fleecing San Jose completely, but Morrissey with 1 year left for a first-round pick, a future first-round pick. That could be a top 6 forward. That could be a top 9 forward. That could be a random medium elite early in the first round. Who really knows? There's also Kane and Kagerodov. So we get a defensive prospect and another forward prospect that we could either use or flip away when we need to. Will this work? Wow. That is taken. Okay. And they say that they make out like gangbusters. Well, I think we could have definitely gotten maybe even a bit more in that deal, but I will definitely take it. Does it suck trading away one of our best players on our team? Absolutely. But I think it was what this team needed to make us bad. We are going to call up Tim Burney now, though. And Kane will go down to the AHL to play with some of these younger guys. And hopefully turn that AHL team into a potential Calder Cup champion here. So we will keep Kolyachonok and Galvis together because those guys have been great. So I'm going to just throw Burney into the top 4. And he will get the power play time that Morrissey was having before as well. You guys might as well. Oh no. Oh, I thought there was a glitch that was saying stuff, but seems like it's just a little bit glitched out right now. The extra attacker. We will give the extra attacker to... Let's give it to Irving. Irving's been one of my favorite players in the series so far, so might as well. Okay, so our team is pretty similar, but now Tim Burney jumps to the NHL. Morrissey got dealt. And then we're going to go to defense here. And Kane will come in. He is a right-handed defenseman, which is kind of nice, though. So I probably will put him on the second pairing with Nilstorp. Oh, man. That plus minus. Oh, my goodness. Jeez. Okay, well, the chemistry on defense is atrocious down there in the AHL. So let's just keep it like this, I guess. And goaltending still will stay the same. Okay, that's all set up and ready to go. Basically, our trades were to make our AHL team better, not our NHL team, which is kind of interesting. And our NHL team still looks actually pretty decent, but obviously losing Morrissey makes our defensive core look a lot worse. So hopefully this team still doesn't win games without Morrissey, but it honestly could still happen. So there is that, and we are under the cap now, which is not great. I did retain on Morrissey to try and keep us afloat with the cap. Do I want to bring somebody in to get us back to the cap floor? I don't really know. I guess we could keep below. Actually, no, we just went up the cap. Wow, that was weird. I went back to the trade, and now we went back above the cap floor, so never mind. We are not below. Maybe it was because of the roster move or whatever, but there we go. That is all going to be our trade deadline. We're not going to make any more trades because there's not really anybody else on this team I'm thinking of moving out. So now comes the fun part about simulating the rest of the season and see if we actually make the playoffs or if we miss. And also, how much goals do guys like Aiden Irving finish this year off with? Because I think Irving could hit 40 goals this season. He's on pace for that. So Killorn on waivers. No, thank you. You have multiple years. If you had 1 year, maybe I would just claim you just to make us even better cap-wise. But I don't think it's worth it anyways. So let's go to a day before the deadline and see how we do in these 2 games leading up to the deadline. Hopefully we lose them both. We are being offered a starting goalie prospect and a 4th round pick for a 3rd and a 4th. I don't want to do this deal because we already have a goalie prospect, but I appreciate the offer there, St. Louis. We win 2 games in a row after trading Josh Morrissey. Well, that's not great. That is not great at all. Because are we in a playoff spot yet? No, we are not. We're only 3 points back. I don't like that we're kind of still a team that might make the playoffs because I want to have a great pick, but who knows. And hopefully that San Jose pick in the future becomes something great. Obviously, we could have traded for their first rounder this year, but they might make the playoffs still. Next year, who knows? Maybe they miss the playoffs. So let's go to a day after the deadline because I'm not even going to look at what's available at the deadline. We just won 8-4. We've won 3 straight games after moving our best defenseman. This team just does not want to give up on playoff hopes, apparently. Which, I mean, I don't blame them. But still, it is kind of crazy. Ilya Sorokin has been dealt to the Washington Capitals for Kuznetsov in a second. That is quite the blockbuster. There was also Keandre Miller going to Seattle for a first rounder. That Glass prospect we looked at in Griffin. Interesting. There was another blockbuster trade. Jeez, a lot of them. Dubé in a third. So Dylan Dubé in a third round going to Buffalo for a first rounder. Matthias Samuelsson and some guy named Jacques. Another one, Poirier in a second go to Vancouver, and Toronto gets the former first overall pick in Palin. Holy crap. I don't know what's with Vancouver and moving that first overall pick guy, but here we are. Alex Vlasic on waivers. That's not too bad, but I don't really need him because we already got our defenseman in our NHL team, so we're going to decline that, but that wouldn't have been a bad waiver claim. We've won 4 straight games after trading Morrissey. Stop it, boys. Stop it, please. Just stop it. We do not want to win. I feel like our top prospects are probably just making us way too good. Like, Misa's probably making us a way better team than we need to be. But, oh well. Let's go to the 25th and see how we do in these next few weeks. Hopefully we fall off. We've won 5 straight games now. Do not need to claim Max Jones. We've won 6 straight games, and that was back-to-back. Or 3 straight shutout wins. Jesus, man. Wow, okay, we had 3 straight shutouts, and then we only allowed 1 goal against Vegas. So in a 4-game span, we played great defensive hockey without Josh Morrissey. And then we lose 4-3, but we are currently just outside of a playoff spot with 3 games in hand. This team might make the playoffs unless they just continue to fall apart here, but oh my god. See what happens when you make your team not that good. You end up making the playoffs potentially. As Rafalski has been injured, that kind of sucks, but we'll go replace player in the AHL. And Michelli has been injured. That could help us miss the playoffs, but it also, at this rate, our pick is not going to be that great regardless this year. Let's just go replace player on that front. We're still winning games without Michelli. And now Regula's been injured. Let's just go replace player on him. Perfetti has been injured. Wow, we got slapped with 3 straight injuries. And now Michelli is back. Kagorodov. Oh, geez, I meant to send you down as well. I forgot about trading for you. Oops. I have to send him down. We got to take... Who was it? That was... oh, Johnny Beecher was in for Michelli. We'll put Beecher in the spot here where Kagorodov is. And I'm going to send Kagorodov down to the AHL. Because Kagorodov should not be a healthy scratch. He's a potential prospect. I forgot that we actually dealt for another guy other than him. He's going to go to the AHL. He might have got some games in, but that's okay. And we will throw him in instead, instead of... Levi is like almost close to being not that great. Same with Barlow. I am going to take Nils Storp out of the lineup, I think, as a low 6. Actually, maybe we'd have to go with somebody that's older, like Julian. Yeah, Julian's got to get taken out here. And we will probably just throw Kagorodov into that spot. Jeez, our AHL team is so stacked here. We'll move Kagorodov up as well. Yeah, that works. That works. Yeah, our AHL team should still be a playoff team unless for some reason the chemistry on the defense is hurting it, but there we go. So that maybe was why we were assimilating good stills, because we had Kagorodov up there, who knows. But we're 40-27-5. We are in 3rd place in our division. Oh, boys, what are you doing? Oh my god. How are the Sharks doing? They are not in the playoff spot. So we could have traded for the Sharks first rounder and got ourselves a chance to have the first overall pick, but we traded for a future first. And now our team is potentially on the cusp of making the playoffs after moving away so many good players. The only way we missed the playoffs, I feel like, at this rate is if those injuries hurt us a lot. Who was it? Oh yeah, it was Rafalski that was originally in this Kagorodov spot, so I got to take Wagner out now and throw Rafalski in there. Rafalski will have to play 4th line, I think. Yeah, I guess. I don't really even know. Our HL team is really, really deep here. I could also go like that and put Kagarov down the middle. I don't even really know at this point. Let's just keep it like this. I honestly don't know. I'm trying to get everybody as much ice time as possible, but it's almost impossible. We've lost 2 straight games. That's actually good, but we are still in a playoff spot, and we still have games in hand. It all depends on these final 9 games. If we win more than half of them, we're probably making the playoffs at this rate. Those injuries that we had might actually play a major factor because Perfetti is still out. So let's see how we do in these 4 games this week. As Perfetti's return, that's not great in a way because it's going to probably turn our team into winning games. But I'm okay with that in a sense. I want more Irving and stuff to just score goals, but I don't want us to be a playoff team here. Shootout loss, that's a point. Shootout win, that's another 2 points. Regula is back, which is great. At least that will give us our normal defensive core here. Lundmark was in the top 4. That's okay. There you go. Let's continue to sim. We win over Vegas and we beat Seattle. Okay, we're going to be a playoff team at this rate, guys. I hate to say it, but we're going to be a playoff team even after making those trades. Because we're at 92 points. The last playoff team has 86. The team that is outside the playoffs in our division has 82. So 10 points back with the same amount of games. And then the Kings are on the outside of the playoffs as well with 83. Yeah, there's a good chance we're making the playoffs here unless we lose every single game down the stretch here. Let's go another week. And we win that one. We have made the playoffs. We have made the playoffs despite trying to go against it. And we're going into the playoffs on potentially a long-ass winning streak, which means a first-round exit, probably. OT loss there to end the season. We finished 47, 28, and 7 when we were trying to go through a rebuild. I do not understand how we always keep making the playoffs with this team. It does mean our rebuild are like the future is now, so to speak, but at the same time, I wanted to go through a rebuild where it took us a few years, not just make it every year still. That is crazy. Finished with 101 points. I don't even know what to make of that. Let's take a look at our player stats and all that, but Cole Perfetti leading us with 83 points in 78 games, so our offensive depth scoring must have been good because we didn't have a standout offensive guy, it seems like. But somehow we finished in 3rd place in our division. We're likely going to be a first-round exit. We were a top 10 team in the NHL. Early in the year, we were like 25th, I think, or something like that. So we climbed up the standings quite a bit during the season, and I honestly don't know if it's just because we have Misa, but holy crap, man. We are one of the best offensive teams in the league, scoring 3.56 goals a game. Goals against per game wise, we were not terrible defensively either, kind of like mid-table. So I guess I'll take that. Power play percentage this year was really good, so our power play might have carried our offense a bit. Penalty kill at 83% is around mid-table, so hey, maybe we're actually going to be a good team in the playoffs. But 7-1-2 in our last 10 games going into the playoffs makes me feel like we're going to get swept in the first round. So that's not great. But let's take a look at our player stats and see who did what. So starting off with our centers, Perfetti, 83 points in 78 games, plus 33. And Chaz Lucius, 83 points, plus 33. So these two identical stat lines, really good. Michael Misa on 77 points, Stankoven on 66. Okay, I can kind of see why we made the playoffs. The depth score on these guys especially, fantastic. Lambert on 25 points in his rookie season is not too bad. Kumpalainen on 21 is not bad either. He is up to an 81. And Beecher had 3 points in 7 games. Michelli on 54 points, plus 1. Lindstrom on 22 is not bad, but a minus 13. B.O. Grew had 10 points in 25 games. And 6 power play points. So he was put in after we made that trade with Kupari, and he ended up helping us out offensively a lot. Irving, oh my goodness, Aiden Irving, let's go. See, this is why I'm kind of okay with we making us the playoffs, but I didn't want us to. But Irving in his second NHL season has hit 47 goals and 74 points, 17 power play goals for the guy this year, 7 game winners. Wow. Well, this guy is going to definitely get that 8-year extension after next year's season, but man, is he good. His career shooting percentage is 15.9%. He even scores a lot of goals in the preseason, and we know he scores also in the playoffs a bit too. Wow. Chinnikov on 54 points, Hemming on 34. So the youth movement is really great on this team at the moment, but I honestly have no idea how this team made the playoffs with some of the plus minuses on the team. Defensively, Kyrou had 35, so after Morrissey got dealt, he stepped up, it looks like. Heinola on 30. Galvis on 22 and a plus 30. Oh, that's beautiful, though. Thomas Galvis, first season being a plus 30. That is really nice. Regula on 16 points, minus 13. Kolyachonok was plus 22. He's been a very good defensive defenseman. In his 2 years here, he's a combined plus 36. Craziness. Bernie had 8 points in 25 games, plus 5, and 2 goals for Lundmark. Goaltending-wise, Dostal had a 909, so I think he improved a bit, and Ellis finished with a 905. Any assists or goalie goals? 4 assists from our goaltenders, 3 of them from Ellis. So Colton Ellis picks up 3 assists in 21 games. Crazy. So I can kind of see why we did good. The future is very bright for this team. Irving, Misa, Lucius, and Perfetti, and Stankoven. Those guys I'm very impressed with. Like, this is Stankoven's second season in the NHL. He did really well. Irving's second season, he did really well. Misa's second season, he did really well. Lucius has been here for a while now, and Perfetti as well. But the youth movement is amazing. And I am kind of actually happy to see our team make the playoffs in a way. But at the same time, I would have liked an elite prospect this year. But who knows, maybe that first rounder we acquired next year ends up being a good prospect for us. Matthews ended up leading the points league in points. McDavid in point up there. McKinnon up there as well. Not a surprise on those type of guys. Is that Connor Brown? Yep, it is. What the heck? Connor Brown had 103 points playing next to McDavid. That is really weird. Best goal scorer this season was Matthews with 66, but look where Irving finished. Behind Kaprizov, Ovechkin, Kucherov, McKinnon, Pasternak, and Matthews only. He tied McDavid in goals. That is kind of outrageous. Wow. Did he have the most power play goals this season? No, it doesn't look like it. No, but he came close to it. Wow. Almost as much power play goals as Ovechkin. God damn, man. Let's take a look at shorthanded points for fun. Lundell had 8 shorthanded points. Barkov had 7. God damn. Let's see. Selke candidates, probably Barkov, right? Crosby didn't take a lot of face-offs. There was Elias up there. It's probably Barkov, though. 56% in the amount of shorthanded points. I'd say he gets the Selke. Most fights are fun. Tanner Jeannot with only 8. Best defenseman for points, Cale Makar with 100 points. Jeez. And Morrissey, who we dealt away to the San Jose Sharks, finished with 65 points. And I don't think he made the playoffs. He had 18 points in 22 games. It would have been nice to have him for this playoff run that we're going to have. But at the same time, I mean, we're turning the page. But that is really weird. I think they missed the playoffs, right? Wow. Okay. Goaltending-wise, the best is Georgiev with 43. Him and Stuart Skinner. Most shutouts is Vasilevsky, Swayman, and Hellebuck, our former goaltender. Best save percentage by a starter is Swayman with a 917. Goals against average, it is going to be Spencer Knight with a 273. Any goalie goals this season? 1 goalie goal from Igor Shesterkin in San Jose. Damn. And most assists is Swayman and Levi. Best rookie this season in terms of points was Vesa Haken with 71. Gavin McKenna with 62. Interesting, okay. Best rookie goaltender, Sebastian Cossa. Okay. Let me take a look at our AHL stats as well, because I am curious if our AHL team did well. They should have done well. Yeah, Hellenius was well over point per game. Grosek hit 40 goals. Yakula, who we brought in, had 18 points in 21 games as a third liner with power play. I am very excited for a lot of these guys to jump to the NHL next season, because the way we're playing right now in the NHL is great, but we're even going to have more guys jumping to the NHL soon. Eventually we'll have to probably trade some of them, but the AHL team Did very well. Very, very, very well. So they're going to be probably a first round exit. And Dag had a 923. He's definitely NHL bound next year too. So yeah, very happy with the NHL and AHL team, even though we made the playoffs in the NHL. I am okay with it, I guess. The question is, who are we going to be playing in round 1? And yeah, the Sharks did miss the playoffs with Josh Morrissey after we dealt him there. And I think the Preds is where we dealt Kupari, right? And they also missed the playoffs. Goddamn, man. Okay, who are we playing in round 1? Who are we playing? Oh, the Chicago Blackhawks, which is a team we were thinking about trading Morrissey to. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they had 50 wins on the year. Are we going to be the cheese team? That would be interesting. Let's take a look at the Chicago Blackhawks. See what they're made of. And it is a very good-looking Chicago team. Jesus. First line of Nick Ehlers, our former player, of course. Connor Bedard and Connor Garland. Second line, Alex Holtz. Sean Monahan, who's an 89, I guess, statistical growth. And Dom Kubalik is back in Chicago. Third line, Ryan Donato, Lucas Reichel, and Oscar Sundqvist. And a fourth line of Cole Lind, Ryan Strome, and Colton Dock. So yeah, that's a very, very good-looking forward core. Defensively, they're very good as well. Korchinski and Jones, Carlo and OEL, Wyatt Kaiser, and John Marino. That's a very good defensive core too. OEL is a bit weak, but still. And then goaltending-wise, they have Connor Hellebuyck, as we saw, our former goaltender, and Chris Drieger. Scratch-wise, Connor Murphy, Phil Kershev, and Dante Guerin, who is a medium elite. They drafted 4th overall 2 years ago, and they decided to scratch him. Yikes. He's only played 26 career games in 2 years. They should definitely be playing this guy in the NHL, but they are not, because of the fact that they're a good team. Like, they should definitely put him in instead of Lind, but who am I to object? That's going to be a very tough team to beat. So, like I said, I think we're going to be a first-round exit, even though we just made the playoffs. Let me take a look at how they did compared to us regular season-wise and, like, goals and all that. So they tied us in points. They had the better ROW, though, obviously. We scored more goals per game. They allowed less, so they're a better defensive team. We're a better offensive team, it looks like. Yep. We're better offensively, they're better defensively. And we're both really good going into the playoffs. So who knows what's going to happen in this first round. But I honestly don't think we're going to win the cup now that we made the playoffs. But honestly, our team could go on a tear. This young future looks very bright with our team so far. And I'm very impressed with how this team has been able to kind of like still make the playoffs even after moving some very good players from our team. It's just very, very weird. But anyways, that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the first round of the playoffs against the Chicago Blackhawks as we look to get ourselves to the second round and beyond that, because obviously a first round exit after making the playoffs when we didn't want to is just going to make us have a late pick regardless, so might as well go for as far as we possibly can. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.